How's it going, everybody? It is time. Eraserhead is here. The deck profile's finally here. I'm so sorry for delaying it for all of you beautiful people, but I wanted to be able to build a deck in real life, and I'm actually thinking of bringing this to my first locals this weekend. Yes, that is right. I'm not even a fan of Aizawa. I'm not a fan of Eraserhead in the series, but he might actually be the first deck that I bring to my first local event. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump to the deck profile. So Eraserhead is pretty cool because he's a 7-hand sizer, and for me, while through playing this game, I realized that having a 7-hand size characters are the type of playstyle that I like because they tend to be a little bit more aggressive. You can do more things, draw more cards. That's always fun. He has a health pool of 19, so he is a little bit squishy. But the one thing that I like is I've played I played DLC Iida. I've played Asui Suyu, and those are also 7-handers, really aggressive. Obviously, there's Tokoyami. I haven't dabbled with Tokoyami yet as well, but I also know that he's aggressive. But with that being said, they, especially Asui, you kind of blow your load. You kind of go all out, and then you're kind of left on the defenses. Obviously, you have things like wall cling and stuff like that to play defense. But I do find that with Eraserhead, he has a lot of defensive tools. So this deck, I like to call it the Void Kick Eraserhead deck because we are building around the Void symbol, and we are playing only kick attack. So I've seen a decent amount of people also running this build. Of course, you can run him on all, take advantage of weapons, kind of use the Momo stuff like that because he has a ton of combo attacks, he has a ton of weapons. But for me personally, I decided to go with the Void version. So let's go ahead and run through all of our cards. So 4 copies of Erase. I see some people running 3. I personally like 4 because obviously you remove it from the game, whether from its own effect, you remove it from the game using Night Watch. And I like to have as many as possible because I really like how it's a mid block, and it's a 1 modifier as well as has Breaker. You can go ahead and use Aizawa's effect to discard it as cost and then pick it back up so it's free. But then obviously if you removed one to use its effect, then we also play Night Watch. So say if you remove 2 to use Night Watch's effect, we still have 1 that we can use, right? So that's kind of my mentality behind it. I haven't found it to be too much of a detriment because of course it is a mid block, so it can block any zone, and it's 1, right? So it's really good. Even if you're taking partial damage, it's good to be able to block attacks. Again, we only have 19 vitality, right? For our foundations, these are our spammable foundations. I can run through real quick. 3 late riser, 3 tape, 3 mediator, 3 resistance, and then 4 gotcha. Now, I play 4 gotcha because it is a 0 difficulty, 2 block modifier low. But the reason why I really like this is because it's nice. It's a nice little speed boost, or it's a nice little speed decrease of 1 whenever you commit this card during the enhanced step. Sorry, the enhanced step. And then we have ways to go ahead and commit that. So 4 copies of that, obviously 0 diff. Then the rest of the cards are really good defensively, well, except for late riser, which we'll talk about. So 3 resistance, it's breaker. We -2 on our opponent's attack when we commit it, but on their next attack. But then also it has some stun hate as well, which is really good because stun is a pretty good mechanic, and I don't like stun. So being able to kind of stop that is really nice. So 3 of those, and then 3 mediators because again, defense -3 speed. This card has saved my life. You have to destroy it as the cost, and then you can use its effect. But that's always nice because you don't want to find yourself in deadlock, so it's not that bad to destroy it sometimes. But being able to get -3 speed, but then you also can draw a card if you play to action this turn, and obviously we're always going to have a race. So yeah, 3 of those. Again, more defense. 3 tape. I like how we can change any attack to a mid zone. Then we can fully block with this. It's a breaker, so it makes our next card a little bit more difficult. And then we can go ahead and commit our Eraserhead and draw 2. So tape is really good. And then also it has the -2 speed if we do need to use it for that. And then the 3 late riser, honestly, I'm thinking of dropping these 3 late risers and then instead adding 1 more copy of tape, 1 more copy of mediator, and then 1 more copy of resistance. I have been testing it and I kind of do like it more, but I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this for the locals. I'll see. Just because of the response effect, right? So after this card is discarded from your hand during the enhanced step, this attack gets +1 or -2 speed. So again, it can be used on the defensive end. And then ideally you want to discard this with Aizawa's effect, with Eraserhead's effect. So you can go ahead and pick up an erase from your discard pile. You discard this, the response effect triggers, and then now you can -2 speed on them. And then, yeah, sorry, you can -2 speed on them with this. And then you're also minusing 2 speed on Eraserhead, so they're -4 speed. So that's really good on the defensive end. So that's the thing I like. The other thing is, the reason why I was thinking of dropping is just because the other effect's completely dead. If you played, let me see if I can focus. If you played a combo ability, this enhanced step, your attack gets +1 damage. Honestly, that's not the biggest, but then more importantly, I only play 1 combo attack, which is nice. It's not the worst. Like if I have it in my staging area, like fine, like obviously that'll be nice to use, but If I'm being completely honest, I haven't taken advantage of this as much. I feel like this would be really good if you're playing on the all symbol, because I think all of Aizawa's attacks are actually combo attacks. I could be wrong. Somebody in the comments can go ahead and correct me, but I think that's how it is. So yeah. So that's just my conclusion on that. I might drop these, but I'm gonna try it. I think I've been having decent success, but we'll see. That's not it for all the foundations though. We still have some more foundations right here. So here are our 2 Diff Foundations. So I like to play for my uniques 2 Night Watch and 2 Think Fast. So Think Fast is really good because again, it helps us push on the offensive end, but also on top of that, it allows us to change the zone of our attack. So if we have a mid, we can make it off zone, we can make it a high or a low. Or if we have a low and we think they have a low block, we can make it a high and vice versa. So that's always cool. But then it also allows us to utilize gotcha by going ahead and committing a card. In order for its first effect, we have to commit 1 foundation. So we change the zone of our attack, we commit gotcha, we get the +1 speed off that. But then also Think Fast kicks in if we use that other enhance first, and then it gets +1 speed, +1 damage. So really good synergy in itself. And it's a mid block, and its block modifier is a 1 as well, so it can be blocked with anything. So even if you have 1, obviously there's cards like Apathetic and things like that that can flip it over, so we still have access to it. That's why I play 2. I don't want to play 3 because then I feel like it'd be too cloggy. Although if I was, it wouldn't be too bad because obviously it's a mid block of 1. But yeah, so that's that. Night Watch, obviously, I feel like this card is so good and you kind of have to play it in Eraserhead. I mean, you don't have to, but I think it's really good. Because I play the 2 Night Watch, that's also why I like to play the 4 Erase. Like I mentioned, if I do use 1 Erase for its own effect to remove, and then let's say I remove 2 for Night Watch, I'll still have 1 that I can use. But yeah, Night Watch, I think is like, this card has won me games. So yeah, I mean, I think 2's fine. I think 3 would be too much. I know you kind of do really want to see your Night Watch just because it kind of puts that pressure on your opponent. But and then they kind of have to like bait it out or like play around it. But I mean, I think 2 is fine. Again, we have a 7 hand size and we do draw a ton of cards in this build. So more often than not, I see it. The only worst case scenario is that if I discard both of them doing control checks, which definitely can happen and has happened before. But I mean, that's a game we play, right? It's RNG. It's a card game. So yeah. So those are my uniques. And then to round out the rest of the foundations, 4 Natural Leader. And what I think is one of the most broken cards is 4 Heroic Lineages. I can't believe this card is not a unique. It's amazing on offense. It's amazing on defense. If your attack gets a speed boost, it gets +2 damage. Remember, we can give our attack speed boost very easily with Eraserhead basically for free. And then obviously if our opponent gains an attack boost, we can -3 speed them. So it's really good on offense and defense. And then of course, if we have multiple in our staging area, we can go ahead and take advantage of that and really push our advantage. And then Natural Leader, I mean, this card is also really good. So any of your kicks or your mid attacks, all of our attacks are kicks, it will get +2 speed, which is always good on the offensive end. But also first enhance, you can go ahead and choose one of your rival's foundations, and the abilities on that card cannot be played for the rest of the enhanced step. So that's really good when you're trying to go for the jugular. So that is it for all the foundations. No 3 Diff Foundations, only 2 Diff Foundations and spammable foundations. Like I said, I like to play this aggressively. So now let's go over the attacks. So for the attack lineup, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we play only kicks. And the first 2 kicks I'm about to show you are like, I mean, it's crazy. So Binding Kick, which is Aizawa's kick, 4 of those, and then 4 Flying Thruster Kick. Now, Binding Kick is the only Aizawa attack we play out of all of Aizawa's cards, because it's the only kick that he has. But yeah, other than that, we play a complete Iida package. Now, the dunks that I've gotten with these 2 attacks are absolutely insane. And I'll show you guys, or I'll talk about some quick combos afterwards. But these 2 attacks can get pumped up really, really big in terms of speed, in terms of damage, and it's really unexpected. And because they're just a difficulty of 4, like just being able to play them after another, like playing one of these and then playing one of these using the combo effect, things like that, you can really just start hitting your opponent for a ton of damage. They're both high blocks, so they're off zone as well. Of course, you can change them to low blocks as well with Think Fast. These cards are amazing, and I'll talk about them very briefly a little bit later, just to show you guys some like quick setups that I like to do. The rest are the Iida cards, and I love Void because you have access to Iida cards, and I honestly think Iida is so good. Recipro Extend is nuts. 4 copies. I mean, this card's uncommon, and like I think this card is freaking crazy. Like if I can get my hand on like XR versions, I would, because like I feel like I'll play this card in any deck that can run these symbols, or whichever symbol I go for. Because not only can you draw 1 card, but on top of that, you're able to give your next attack +2 speed, +2 damage, which allows you to do some crazy nutty plays. Going for this, then you can go for this. There's tons of ways to pump this up, or you can go for one of these, and like things just get super nuts being able to have that extra +2 damage, +2 speed. Of course, it is a mid, but you can make that off zone as well. Once again, basically using Eraserhead, this is like a 6 speed mid as well. If you do want it to, it's only 4 damage. You kind of just use it to poke to set things up. More often than not, they're not going to fully block it because they know that something bigger, unless it's lethal, of course, but because they know that it's something bigger is most likely coming after that, they're probably not going to commit too much to block a 4 damage attack, right? So yeah, so 4 copies of that. What else is there about that card? Yeah, I don't know. It's just freaking amazing. Then I run 4 Engine Rush and 2 Reciprocal Bursts. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. This card's kind of expensive at the moment. In my play testing, I actually play test with 3 of these. If you just imagine one of these. So I actually play test with 3 of these and 3 of these. But these are way cheaper. So I just went ahead and picked up 4 of these. And I pulled 1 from my box, and then I only had to buy 1 of these. So ideally, in a perfect world, the build would kind of look like this. But I think this is fine. I play tested it with this. It's not that bad. Reciprocal Burst is obviously an amazing finisher. The card art looks amazing too. But it's so good because you have access to stun, and when you stun, you go ahead and get +1 speed. You have access to EX3, which is insane, and a lot of your attacks tend to go through with Isekai just because of the speed that you could set up with your attacks. And you're able to, hopefully they won't have momentum hate, but getting +3 speed off that, and then being able to go ahead and use, sorry, let me get this focus in, and then being able to go ahead and discard 1 momentum, and then it gets damage, X damage, and X equals the speed of this attack -3. Like, I've pumped this thing up so much to where it's just an absolute insane dunk, which is why I like to play 3, and I've ended games with this card. It's really good. I mean, to be honest, I've probably ended more games with like Binding Kick or Flag Thruster Kick as well. But this is a really good ender. But then Engine Rush is also really good as well. Like, you can do some pretty decent damage with it. It is a 5/5. Obviously, if you make it off zone, you can make it a 5 high or 5 low. Isekai kind of makes that it makes it a 7 speed, high, lower, mid, which is also really cool. But if you use it with Think Fast, obviously we have a ton of ways to boost its attack. It has powerful, it has EX. So this card could actually be used as a finisher as well. On top of that, you could just end the enhanced step whenever you want. But then also, if this attack does damage, if it's not blocked, you get to draw 2 cards. So it is also another good setup card. Just so it makes your opponent have to use another resource. Like, you can change the zone to high, so you have like another high attack, try to make them use one of their high blocks, and then you play your actual high block after. You can play your Flying Thruster or your other Isekai kick attack, forgot what it's called, Binding Kick or whatever, and then go off like that. At least that's how I've been using it. So that is it, guys. That is the build. That is the deck. I've been having a ton of fun with it. I'm really, really hoping to be able to record there and get you guys some footage of it, because I think that this would be really fun. If not, I will have some gameplay. Next deck profiles, I am going to be building Aoyama, because I do have his cards, so I will be showing you guys an Aoyama build. I'll be showing you guys an Asui Suyu build, but I really want to start getting some footage, some gameplay footage on this channel for you guys. I'm planning on live streaming on YouTube this weekend as well, to hopefully face some of you guys and do some deck building, so stay tuned for that. But I hope you guys enjoyed. What are your thoughts on my Eraserhead kick build? Do you guys have any suggestions? Any things that I might want to play? Any secret tech that might give me the upper hand for locals this weekend? Let me know. Do you guys enjoy this build? If you guys haven't tried it, I highly recommend go ahead and copy this. Go ahead and steal this. Go ahead and yoink this. Play test it. Let me know what you guys think, because I am having a ton of fun with Eraserhead. With that being said, I will catch you guys later, and hopefully I can put in some work at locals if I decide to play this and not my Asui deck or my Aoyama deck. Stay tuned. You'll find out. Peace.